This is Jordan Davis.
And this is Michael Dunn.
Jordan Davis is a 17-year-old African-American high school student.
And Michael Dunn is a 45-year-old Caucasian software developer.
On Friday, November 23, 2012, both met at a liquor store in Jacksonville, Florida, around 7:30 p.m.
Dunn was visiting Jacksonville at the time and had just left his son's wedding. He decided to get a bottle of wine and arrived at a liquor store.
As Dunn was sitting in his car in the parking lot, a red SUV drove up that consisted of a group of teenagers who were playing music loudly.
Dunn was upset by the loud music and asked them to turn down their music, or thug music, according to Dunn.
The teenagers complied, and so Tevin Thompson, a teenager in the car, turned down the music.
Jordan Davis voiced that he wanted the music to be back to the volume it was, so the teenagers decided to turn it back up.
Dunn was furious and in a rage, which led him to shoot at the SUV and even stepped out of his car to continue shooting at the SUV as the teenagers rushed to drive away.
Dunn believed to see the barrel of a shotgun through the SUV's window.
No shotgun was ever found.
And this case led to be one of the most recent controversial cases regarding racial profiling.
Masculinity is often a hedge against being revealed as a fraud, an exaggerated set of activities that keep others from seeing through us, and a frenzied effort to keep at bay those fears within ourselves. Our real fear is not fear of women, but of being ashamed or humiliated in front of other men, or being dominated by stronger men. This really helps in understanding what some of the mental factors are that can contribute to a law-abiding citizen turn cold-blooded murderer over something as insignificant as loud music. No man, whether 1,000 years ago or in today's day and age, wants to be embarrassed or humiliated by another man, especially in front of a woman. I believe, just like some animals in nature, some men will fight and possibly kill to be named the alpha male of the pack. Michael Dunn could have felt his masculinity, his manhood, being challenged by this group of black teens in front of his significant other, which causes him to confront the teen boys with a greater degree of hostility than what have normally been used. Just as Michael Dunn may have felt his manhood being challenged, Dunn's actions would have in turn put Jordan Davis and his companions on the defensive side, also trying to defend their masculinities. When men, in an attempt to defend themselves from being dominated by other men, present themselves in certain situations, the situations can quickly become violent with very little reasoning behind it, other than men not wanting to be humiliated and their manhood being challenged.
During the World War II, a Jewish man who had escaped from a concentration camp came to the brick maker and pleaded for help. The brick maker turned him away, saying he didn't want to put his own family at risk. If I was the bricklayer and you came to me and the Nazis were behind you and the Gestapo was chasing you, would I be willing to help? Would I be willing to risk my family? I don't know if I would be. According to We Are All Bystanders, there are a few main characteristics that bystanders have: pluralistic ignorance, diffusion of responsibility, confusion of responsibility, and an altruistic personality. In this case, Rhonda Ruhr, Dunn's girlfriend, has an altruistic personality. A person with an altruistic personality is more concerned for the welfare of others, such as family and friends, rather than somebody else's situation that is brought upon them that would harm others. Rhonda was present for the shooting of Jordan Davis and was still with Dunn the next couple of days. During those days, she did not call the police to report the shooting and instead went back to the hotel Rhonda and Dunn were staying at and had wine and pizza. Even though Rhonda's actions showed no sense of an active bystander, she still acknowledged the immorality of the shooting when she testified months later. During her testimony, she commented that Dunn never mentioned the teenagers had a gun that night or the next day, and that Dunn told her, "I hate that thug music." Ultimately, there was no threat to Rhonda, but her boyfriend at the time. She did not take the necessary actions to help the teenagers or report the shooting. Instead, She drove Dunn to a hotel and did not say a word for the sake of her boyfriend. This may seem immoral, but what is considered moral to the person whose loved one is threatened, resulting in an altruistic personality?
That fool was trippin'. He should have come correct. I was gonna pay him. You saw. I had the money in my hand. That fool knows not to fuck with us anymore. I did get taken in for that, but it don't matter. They gave me probation and shit. I'll just keep it cool now, since that fool will keep it cool now too. And punished, Mike had gone into this liquor store with no intention of stealing or causing any mischief. He just wanted a snack. But when the owner accused them of breaking his rules of only 2 kids being allowed in the store at once, the boys felt the need to put the owner in his place. Mike took his bag of chips and ran out of the store, stealing them in the end. This was Mike's way of demanding dignity from the store clerk. This relates to Jordan Davis because this might have been Davis's intent when he turned the volume of the music up after being asked to turn it down by Dunn. Prior to shooting at the vehicle, Michael Dunn had asked the boys to turn the volume of what he described as rap crap down. Turning up the volume could have been Davis's way of demanding respect from Dunn. But obviously this method backfired and did not work to Davis's advantage. For every Michael Dunn guilty verdict, a George Zimmerman still goes free. This is the season in which the victimhood of white killers, their implied innocence, is taken or accepted as given.
I wanted Jacksonville to be a shining example that you can have a jury made up of mostly white people, white men, and to be an example to the rest of the world to stop the discriminatory practices, stop discriminating, stop looking where we have to look at juries and say what the makeup of jurors are. He, Ron Davis, said, "I'm in constant contact with Tracy Martin, Trevon's father, and I text Sabrina, Trevon's mother, all the time, and I just want to let them know every time I get justice for Jordan, it's going to be justice for Trevon."
I am scared to death because unless these laws are checked or changed for the benefit of all, it's not going to change. We are going to repeat the same story over and over.